And we're live.
Oh, no.
Are we? No, we're not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hello in there. Hey, what's so important? What you got here that's worth living for?
You made it up.
Welcome back to Blathe. We're just doing a little live here thing. I'm here with Dad and Judah. And it's just fun. It's so fun coming home and talking to you guys. I got in late last night, and not late. And you're on dinner time. The first thing that was fun to me was you guys were excited about the birds.
Seeing Baltimore Orioles.
The Baltimore Orioles.
Big ones, little ones, male and female.
Just the different birds.
The real birds.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Oriole.
Not the baseball team.
Not when
who has ever seen them recently at all? Anyway,
Ever since Cal
they
Ripken.
were around under Earl
Cal
Weaver, I remember.
Earl Weaver, I don't go quite that far back.
Cal
Ripken.
Ripken's when we remember. You got us into
When
that.
did the Baltimore Oriole? When did you first see? At least said they're new around here.
But I say 4 years ago. I would say 2 years ago, but you know how that
You know
is.
how it goes. Nothing happened to
Yeah,
you.
4 years ago, and
Yeah.
Lambeth Chalk saw them and told us to be out on the alert for them, and there they were, sucking sugar water out of the
Out of the hummingbird feeder.
hummingbird feeder. Yeah,
Huh.
they got real long beaks that they get right in.
Huh.
Beautiful bird.
So anyway, after
Orange
that,
black.
we got into we were just talking now about humor, and I have rediscovered the Far Sides. We were talking about our favorite Far
Oh, yeah.
Sides, and why they're funny. Like what's one that you and you don't always remember the funny ones.
I remember. I told you last night it was something like that to the two cowboys facing each other on the street, with their hands out, ready to kill each other. And the one says, 1, 2, 3, straw. No. 1, 2, 3, graw. No. And the other guy's just shaking in terror because he doesn't want to, you can't suspend the moment of accountability, It's like,
Right. It's so absurd.
say you always you remember Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. And he's
Right.
facing down Ringo in
Right.
Tombstone. He says, "Say when."
Right.
Say when.
See when. The thing about humor, though, it's so culturally
Yes.
embedded, right?
To get something, you have to have
There's such.
congruent
Even
experiences. Or something.
Common
yeah.
experience.
We were talking about like meme culture. You have to have been looking at memes for the last 10 years to get some of the modern memes.
Yeah.
Get some of them in.
And even you think American culture is pretty homogenous or whatever, but Far Sides, you kind of have to understand.
Oh yeah.
You have to be in a certain time and place.
Sure.
And so I wonder, looking back at like ancient texts or whatever, how much might have been humorous that we're just missing.
That's a good question.
Like we were just talking about shibboleths.
Yes, it's true that there's nothing. There's no orthodox position on any scripture being humorous.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nothing humorous about it. It's just very serious, and everything that happens, you think, "Well, is it humorous?" There's something that approaches humor, but it's so deadly serious. Like the poor guy being told not to go into anybody's house.
Oh, the man
the
of
prophet,
God. Yeah.
and he gets bamboozled by this other prophet who says, "Come on over and have."
God told me it's okay.
So he goes over there, and on the way back,
Bear comes out.
lion kills him, but then there's the picture of the lion and the man's donkey standing together on the side of the road beside this man's body, and the lion doesn't bother the donkey, and they just stand there. You wonder, what is that all about? That's one of those things I go back, think about, but it's almost funny in a way.
And
it's funny story, but it's too serious.
And these people, humor had to be a part of their life.
Well, just you guys saying that made me think a huge part of our culture is humor, and there's none in the Bible.
Well, we don't, but again, it's because it's so culturally contingent.
Not overtly. humor that people might laugh at something.
Well, and
it'll come to me while you guys are talking. It'll be something.
Something will come up. But and the thing about it, you got to be careful. There's different, humor and humor. Just because something's humorous, and I think the best humor really touches and stirs on deep things, and you think of classically like, people groups, like a lot of comedians, come out of a lot of trauma. They come out of a lot of, or culturally, right? Like the humor, like the Jewish comedy scene came right on the heels of the difficult times for their culture, where it's because it's a way of processing things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all that just to say, just because we're saying there's humor, we're not saying that it's light material necessarily. But that's interesting.
No, by the way, it does say, I think it's in Judges, where the Israelites fought the Amalekites or something, and said God brought hail, and it says, essentially, it says, and God kicked their butts. That's what it said. It smote them in the hinder part.
Right.
That's what it says.
Kick their butts.
Well, there's some of that linguistic thing.
That is interesting. I wonder. I'm sure somebody's done a study to see what if there was any humor lost in translation, like something like that that people may have read and just bust out laughing.
Well, that would be a great book to write. Yeah. Definitely a bestseller. Humor in the book. Well, there's Balaam's ass talking to Balaam.
Yeah, I mean, there's
funny.
Funny scene.
It's funny.
Donkeys.
Nobody had hit him before. Lay off. I mean, it is funny. It's got to be funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's always funny. I mean,
was it
Donkey Talks? There's a whole series of films that you guys never saw that I thought were the best films as a kid ever, and that was Francis the Talking Mule. Oh, I thought they were.
You heard it here first.
It had the dancer. Who's the dancer?
Francis the Talking Mule.
Yeah, we talked to him. The dancer in. Anyway, he's a famous guy.
Fred Astaire.
No, he was kind of a B guy, was supporting.
Famous B actor.
Anyway. Singing in the Rain, he was in it. And he dances up the wall and down over like this.
Oh yeah,
got it. Well, that guy was the hero, and he talked to, and Francis was giving him advice and stuff.
Is that
not like Mr. Ed?
I was gonna say, is that like Mr. Ed?
Mr. Ed, I only saw it maybe once. I mean, it was on another foreign network.
Yeah, what the going back to Larson. Gary Larson. That's a big mine of his. It's just things that are only funny because animals are doing it, and it's so human. Like when there's so many of them. But
who's in the bar? Whose duck is that out there or whatever?
There's a woman bear. No, it's a deer. Woman deer. And there's a dead deer, presumably her husband. And there's the game warden and a hunter. And she says, well, sorry, ma'am, his license checks out. He was in season. You don't have to open the door just because somebody knocks. So dumb.
Well, okay.
But it's just, this is funny because it's animals.
Yeah.
What is there? I mean, obviously there's a possibility, but I guess what I'm starting to think about now is entertaining the possibility that maybe humor there's something maybe we spend too much energy on humor. Maybe there is an evil aspect to humor that is the waste of time.
Well, and the New Testament says expressly, Paul says, you shouldn't be jesting and saying silly things.
There's a difference between using humor as a avenue for tackling painful things, right? Like dealing with things that are
but what if
processing things and just being silly and
what if society is using humor to deal with hard things, to deal with pain, instead of just turning to God?
Yeah, I think
the idolatry of
it's
humor.
It's true that humor doesn't seem to lead to in-depth or serious talk. It always kind of leads off. We make a joke to sort of get us back to the regular, flow of life where everything was peaceful and good. So we make a little joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're back in it. It doesn't, after you say a joke, so that leads me to talk to you about your eternal destiny.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's more a coping mechanism, and it takes the edge off. but it can help.
It's healthier than alcohol.
Oh, no. I mean, it's not. That's not fair.
What do you mean?
That's not fair. It's not just escape. It's not just a drug.
No, but I'm saying, what if it is? It's possible.
I'm
that
saying
it
it's not.
But it is a relief valve. I think that. Don't you think?
A relief valve?
I mean,
Yeah.
why are we funny when we get together? I mean, why are we trying to be funny? Now, some of it's just trying pride and getting attention. I think that's there.
Well, there's the wit, the combination of wit and kind of using, language, showing off with language in ways that are, multiple layers of understanding.
Discovering interesting relationships too.
But it also
It taps
it
in, like
celebrates and it establishes the commonality.
Yeah,
like we said, not only can you only have humor, shared humor with a shared culture, but humor is used as a vehicle for that.
Yeah.
to celebrate common culture.
It's common culture.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
Because you're not if you laugh, you've got to have something in common.
Yeah.
You're not going to laugh at your enemy's joke unless there's something.
And you've got to have
suddenly.
and you've got to have something in common to make any other progress, to work through problems. It's a form of trust. It builds trust.
Could it be a form of forgiveness? Can you laugh at somebody you hate? Can you laugh at somebody you are angry at? I don't think you can.
Right. So it's a tool. You mean not a form, but maybe a tool in forgiveness.
Yeah, maybe not a form of forgiveness, but
a step.
A step towards forgiveness.
So you can see that God sees Adam and Eve in their first clothing of fig leaves. He says, "Oh, fig leaves. Well, I could have done better, but I guess that'll do for the moment or something."
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to curl up after a while, but that's all right. I'll get busy on it. I'll get busy on it.
Fig leaves.
This lambskin. You're going to like this lambskin on those chilly mornings.
Fig leaves. Yeah, fig leaves. Really good. Real creative. I hate but there but you wouldn't want to have humor at a point where
the fall of
man.
It's kind of a serious
treated
a serious point. Maybe around the fringes. So yeah, I don't know. I remember Chesterton's classic Orthodoxy. He ends, I don't know if it's the ending, but he alludes to, he says, in some things the main thing is hidden or whatever, but he says that one of the things that's hidden in the gospel is Christ's mirth. I think
I always remember this picture. It used to come out of Playboy that my friend had posted on his wall, and it was a Jesus laughing. And though it was thought inspiring, what do you call it? Something that
provoked thought.
Provoking. Yeah, I thought, but after a while I said, no, that's not Jesus. Having a good laugh. I suppose he probably did.
I sure hope so.
Well, but are you saying that because
sorrows? What a name!
Are we taking our experience and projecting it onto righteousness instead of because we love it and we find it to be good? Does it? I just am wary of just accepting.
Okay. You're talking about humor, right?
Yeah.
Because there is laughter. Is there that kind of laughter where you hit a real nerve? And you just laugh and can't stop laughing. I've been in those. I think I've had those seizures 2 times with friends.
Yeah.
Was it humor?
Or was it something else?
Humor, or was it
emotion? Like pure emotion.
Deep emotion.
Just deep. And once you start laughing, you're just laughing because there's a real joy.
There's such a joy in it.
Joy. It's not just amusement.
There's an expression of deep joy that I believe is pure and righteous and wonderful, and it has to be an important part of the Christian experience, of the human experience. Laughing.
I mean, I obviously I want to agree with you, but there's also part of me that thinks, well,
I don't think you ever want to agree with me.
If we can make a distinction between laughing at something and just laughing,
yeah.
I mean,
joyous eruption.
When the Holy Spirit, there's times when the Holy Spirit has come down. I felt the Holy Spirit and I have laughed, but I'm not laughing at anything.
Right.
Just laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something will probably or you get a glimpse of your frailty, and yet God is with us. Something like that. It must be something that kind of triggers that thing.
Like an incongruity.
Because when you laugh, it's true somehow deep down in there, way back in there, there is a
vulnerability.
You're laughing at something, at human beings, at our vulnerability, at our frailty, at our silliness, but we survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we wouldn't laugh at anybody, not really, unless we were evil and cruel, laugh at anybody's frailty that was dying because of that. We laugh at their frailty, knowing that they're going to live.
Well, and I think the main thing
survive,
is
right?
If we identify with it. Really, I think the funniest thing is laughing at our own frailty. I mean, that's
shared frailty, that we're not alone.
That we're not alone.
That we're not alone in our frailty.
I'd rather laugh at you personally.
Well,
no, I get it.
Yeah,
we're not alone, right?
Yeah, we're all kind of stupid like that, and it's
I'm like,
well, I guess the sticking point for me is, why is it not in the Bible?
Well, I think
is laughing in the Bible.
I think, of course, laughing's in the Bible.
Well, where?
It says God will laugh at them. Will laugh at
hold them in derision.
But, and then there's also, but blessed are ye that mourn now, for you will laugh.
We laugh.
That's what Jesus says that.
And it says that when Abraham was told he's going to have a kid, he laughed.
That's right.
Sarah laughed.
That's right.
Sarah laughed.
But it was bad.
Well,
she got in trouble for it.
Abraham did laugh. Also, Abraham laughed also. He fell at the angel's feet, and it says that he laughed. And that's what Jesus was referring to when he said,
"Saw my day."
Abraham rejoiced when he saw my day. See, he rejoiced. He was laughing.
But that was joy. I think part of it is just we have to remember what things our vehicles are, and laughter is something that really only what we start out with is a very contextualized thing, and documents that span thousands of years in multiple languages and cultures, we should hope don't include too much that is so heavily contextualized. Some things are just for you got to be there.
Oh, yes,
and I think when we're there together, we'll be laughing a lot.
I think so too. I think it's interesting to look at the devil's advocate sort of perspective.
They represent the devil.
You always like that.
How's that working out for you?
Well, so humor. Buddy and I have been working on trying to find what we call the quadrilateral of humor, and what makes something funny. It usually has to have at least 2 or 3 of these things. It's commonality, common culture, common experience, surprise.
Yes, definitely.
And shift in
perspective
in threat. So if something goes from really threatening to not threatening at all, it can make people laugh for some reason. There's something about it.
We're talking. It's a release. If someone's on their way to their death, that's not where you can laugh. Even though you might see something kind of funny, but you don't laugh because laughter is sort of part of that whole lifting of words.
Yeah, there is something. I think when you said that, it sparked something in me that there is a joy and laughter at good power, right? Like, because the other thing is vulnerability. We laugh at vulnerability, in other people and ourselves.
Sure,
but I think there is something like seeing the future and seeing like, wow, I had no idea. There is something that Abraham could have been laughing. It made him laugh. It's a joyous laugh, but it's also a recognition of how frail I am, how stupid I am, that I couldn't have, Yeah,
I couldn't. I mean, to me, that's the cosmic, wonderful joke, is we could not imagine it working out so well and so wonderfully when we know how dumb we are and how frail we are and how evil and selfish we are. And then we realize, gosh, and everybody else is like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, how are we going to get out of this terrible thing?
Yeah,
And the
there's a
cosmic, well, not, most people, would never say such things about my dad, but other people. And so that it's going to work out well in spite of all that. And the beautiful thing about a joke, and it's funny, is it doesn't, like that somehow that works in. So I don't know. I think the whole cosmic story of redemption is one that is going to bring a lot of laughter. Healthy,
but it's not funny.
But it's not funny.
It's not funny.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
Interesting.
I don't know. I think it's kind of funny.
Joyous. I mean, I think we have began to lay open a very important distinction, and I'm not sure we're very clear about it, but
sure,
joy, laughter of joy, and laughter of humor.
I think there's a relationship,
something that's really happy. Something, and I'm sure there's overlap, but and I think the Bible would gladly, and when it talks about, and you shall laugh, is if you're mourn now, but later you'll get a good joke and laugh. That's not what he's meaning.
But I don't think it's wholly different. I think they're cousins,
No, true.
I don't know. We probably ought to wrap it up.
I was guess it's an interesting conversation.
But I mean,
we need to wrap up with a good joke.
It's so hard to set up a good joke though when you need a good joke.
Yeah,
that's the worst setup for a joke.
Well, don't you have a standard joke?
Those are the worst though.
I
know.
Don't. This one isn't this one. I've been telling this one before. Not that one.
Okay.
This one. Okay. No, where the old guy goes into the bar, and he says, "I'll take a rum and cola," and the bartender says, "Well, I need proof of age." He says, "Well, I got my liver spots and my false teeth." He says, I can't accept that. He said, "Well, I'm not so happy about it either."
I like that. That's not too bad.
All right. Are you saying the go-to jokes are just are bad? They have to be in the moment?
No, but I mean, remember, let's go back to our little quadrant. Surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to hear the same joke.
Well, no, I don't mean just but when you lose surprise and you say, "Okay, I'm going to tell a joke now."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why. Well, oftentimes comedians, successful comedians, are not like funny type people. I mean, think like, Seinfeld or whatever. They're not somebody you expect to make a joke.
They're better writers than they are.
I'm saying stand-up comedians.
Funny, yeah. Another thing we discovered through.
I thought we were wrapping this up.
Yeah, sorry. Painful experience was the lead up to. It's kind of to your point. The lead up has to equel the payoff. So if you have a long lead up, you have to have a
real good punchline. And that's always been. Because you think, I get this great punchline. That's what you're going to, I get this great punchline. I think this whole family does this. Got a great punchline. Now, it goes something like this. And about 5 minutes later, you go, and so he said, it was his arm. And we go, that's really funny. Whereas you should have this, the really essence of a joke is the setup, right? Because if you get the setup, you could really mess
quickly.
But this comes back to one thing, and then we gotta go. I got a lot to do today. One thing that this kind of cuts between what we were just saying is that I still think the funniest jokes, I cannot tell you why they're funny.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't explain them. I can't even tell you why they're funny.
They hit a nerve.
They hit something about language and society or me, and sometimes multiple levels. And Far Side's like that. I mean, a lot of Far Sides are, you don't know why they're funny.
That's it. One of the worst dead air times. Being willing to say, "No, that's enough." Is when somebody is trying to explain a joke.
Oh, explaining a joke.
It's just worthless. Either I got it or I didn't get it.
No, that's it.
Oh, will you explain it to me? Oh, that's
now that you cleared that up. Well, that's a hoot. Oh, man.
I probably should cancel my podcast for all we do is explain jokes.
Okay, well, we don't want to explain this one. Thanks for joining us in this little conversation, and thanks, Daddy, for
Surely, it was a hoot.
And thanks for actually a lot of times I'm quoting you for all the wisdom and thought-provoking conversation over the years. Look forward to many more years coming back home and having good conversations, crossword puzzles, and good jokes.